everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. It's that time of day again. Leaving the office. This time I'm headed home. I'm going to spend some time with baby and unwind. It's been a very tense week. And we've been talking today, and I'm going to go and just spend some time and unwind. As I always say, no matter what you're going through, no matter where you're at, if you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. And the beautiful thing about the way I live my life and the advice I give people and the advice I give my clients, it comes from years and years of study and observation, but also years and years of living out through the good and bad times, the principles, values, and practices that I pass on. I'm not telling someone something that I haven't put to work in my life and watched manifest multiple times. I can talk about it from a highly scientific perspective, but I can also talk about it from an experiential perspective. So when I tell you that there are going to be moments that all you have is the fact that you're still breathing, and you've got to know that if you're still breathing, you're in the fight, that if you're still breathing, you're here for a reason, and that you've got what it takes to overcome whatever it is you're going through. So no matter where you're at right now, no matter what's going on in your life, I want to encourage you to keep your head up. I don't want to get into this too deeply. I normally take a lot of time to explain it because I'm excited about it. I'm writing book number 25 right now. Yes, there's a number of reasons I'm excited about it. Not going to get into it all, but just the fact that I've written and published 24 books and in the process of writing 25 and should have it published and released before the end of the year, to me is something worth celebrating. It's something to be proud of. And I never set out to be a prolific writer. I just set out to write a book. And then after that, I realized there's so much more that I have inside of me that I want to share. And writing in volume is one way that I can do that. Writing in precision is another way that I've done it. I've written thousands of articles. But writing in volume says, okay, I'm going to talk about this topic and I'm going to come up with a solution. I'm going to talk about ways to change things. And I've done that 24 times on a number of different topics, and approaching 25, and we're talking about generational wealth in the entire complexity of its true nature. And I want all of you to be a part of it. I want you to be a part of the program that I've created for people to sponsor space in this book, so that when it's published, you can have your name in it, recognizing somebody that you feel worthy of recognizing. It doesn't matter who it is. If they're special to you, you can acknowledge them. You can acknowledge them in this book. There's no minimum sponsorship. You can do whatever it is you want to do, and all the information is attached to the link. You can see some of it in the description box of the video, but if you click the link, you'll get to see it out. You'll also get to see the existing installments of a series that I'm doing called the Black Wealth Series, which is basically me video verbalizing the basic principles and the content that's going to be in this book. So you get to see how deep I go. This isn't just numbers and X's and O's. I really go to the depth of the problem, both externally and internally. What's being done to stop us and how are we stopping ourselves? And I go all the way from 1865 to current. So with that being said, click that link and become a part of this experience that I'm enjoying. 25 books is something I think to celebrate. With that out of the way, I want to talk to you about something that's on my heart. To some people, it'll mean something. To other people, it won't. That's just life. That's how everything is. And I'm not a person that needs to be legitimized or validated by anybody. I'm my own person. I fight my own values. I fight for my own beliefs, and I stand on what I believe in. I don't need anybody to stand with me. It's great when people do, but I don't need that. I know who I am, and I know what's important to me and what matters to me. And I believe that the things I do help people. I know the challenges of being someone who is unapologetically black and who stands on their blackness. In the last 4.5 years, I've lost 2 of my primary sources of income solely because of the content I put out and my refusal to reverse or back up. I'm currently sitting with an opportunity on deck, and it's yet to be seen if I'll have to back off of this one because of my unapologetic stand. And there are a lot of people saying, you're stupid. But my point is, no matter what I go through, no matter how difficult it is, no matter what challenges I face, I'm my own man, and there's no price tag you can put on that. The ability to be able to say exactly what I feel, what I worried about, whether somebody's going to pull a plug on me, is a freedom that I can't explain. I was telling my friend and colleague, who's also going to be a co-host on a new segment we're going to be doing every Saturday morning, Dr. Michael Blanchard. You've met him before. We're working on something, and we're going to be doing this every Saturday morning. But I was telling him that coming off of the plantation or living off of the plantation comes with a bunch of challenges. And we were talking about that because Dr. Blanchard still holds a professional position in mainstream education. So he reports to work every day. He's paid well for it, but he reports to work every day. And there are certain things he has to be. And he's really working on, as he put it, coming off of the plantation. And I told him, you know, like I know, because we've been friends for a while. And he knows the challenges that I face to be who I am. And there's some great moments and there's some not so great moments. I said, man, coming off that plantation, you've got to really have a stomach for it. You've got to have a stomach. You've got to be creative. You've got to go out and make things happen. Now, don't get it wrong. I've done it. I continue to do it. There's no option. There's no retreat. There's no going back. There's no surrender. I do it every day. I wake up and I handle my business, but I tell people, hey, look, you come off the plantation, you leave all of the security nets, and you have to come out and you have to make it happen. And you have to make it happen understanding that there are people who won't like what you say and will purposely get in your way. And you've still got to make up in your mind, am I going to stand my ground or am I going to bend and fold for the money? And my thing is, I believe that I'm on the path of doing things the way that I can be proud of, the way that I can look my children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren in the face and say, I did it the right way. I stood, I had integrity that underwrote my character. And that's important. And I said all that to just say, look, I've heard some things that really saddens me about where we are as a people. Anytime I start talking about loving on black women, for instance, loving on black women and supporting black women, that was a promise I made to my wife when I got with my wife. My wife was a survivor of childhood molestation, was a survivor of rape as a child, and domestic abuse as a child. I mean, literally, she spent her childhood terrorized. And she made it her business to heal. And there was so much she did to get to that place of healing. But there was still something missing. And when I came in her life, I told her that what was missing was me, and that I would love her back to life, that I'm not perfect, that I've got my own issues, but I would never walk away from her, and I would stand by there, and I would love her back to life. And she held me to that. I've held up my end of the bargain. She's held up her end of the bargain. We've grown together. But when I start talking about black love, something that saddens me. There are a couple of things that saddens me. The first thing is when I talk about black love, how many men show up and deem it to be a sign of weakness or simp behavior when a man loves a woman from a place of pure, unadulterated love. I'm not talking about putting yourself in a position to be played by somebody who's out there to get you, i.e. PJ Washington. No, I'm talking about being able, number one is to have the ability to be so in tune with who you are that you can spiritually and vibrationally recognize that person that's for you and be able to immediately connect and unite, and both people contribute to the advancement and the enhancement of the other. I bring certain things to my wife that makes my wife better, but my wife also in turn brings things to me to make me better. But my wife will also tell you that no matter what black woman I come in contact with, I will not disrespect her. I will hold her in a regard that she may not even hold herself. I may make an assessment that because of where she's at and her not knowing who she is yet, she can't be around me. But in the times that I'm in her proximity, I will treat her not how she's behaving, but what I see inside. Because I've taken some people that were in some real bad places and I worked with them and I saw some unbelievable things. So there's nobody I believe is unreachable. Now, some people don't want to be reached. You can't make somebody want something they don't want. But I don't want to live in a world where loving a woman is considered simp behavior. So I distance myself from any dude who thinks that way. Also, in similar fashion, I don't want to be a part of a world where being kind is a sign of weakness. Now again, I don't mean being someone's fool. I don't mean looking at the behavior and patterns of people and seeing who they are and ignoring them out of the under the guise of kindness. To me, that's not kindness, that's foolishness. If you see something in somebody and they're showing you the signs, you got to believe what you see and you got to treat them accordingly. You got to be able to protect your peace. And there will be those times when people will move at you in a way that you actually have to handle them. I try to avoid those situations as much. When I was younger, I literally thrived for it. I was looking for the person who wanted to come for me because I was going to meet them halfway. You got something from me, come on, I'm going to meet you halfway. And I realized I was taking a lot of my energy that I could have been investing in something positive, that I could have been investing in my own growth. And I was diminishing myself by lowering my vibration to go meet someone who could never truly understand who I was, no matter how much I won. And so I started to focus on me. Now, there are times you're trying to get out of the way of trouble. And it's intent on being in your lane. No matter how many lanes you change, here it is. Take it on. Deal with it. Don't back down. Don't cower. Don't fold. This isn't about weakness. This is about you can actually love and be strong. You can actually have a strong love for black women and still be strong and hold a woman accountable. But what I can't do is being around a bunch of people. To me, being kind isn't weakness. Loving on black women isn't a sign of weakness. To me, what's a sign of weakness is whining and complaining all the time. Everything is somebody else's fault. Man, you think I don't know that women have played a role in where we are right now? As much as I hold black men accountable, you don't think I know that, hell, my own mom wasn't a part of my life. I was reared by my great-grandparents. But what anyone who knows me will tell you, that's not been a disrespectful word that's ever come out of my mouth towards my mom. And I've always handled my mom with respect because that's what my grandparents taught me. My wife has done a couple of videos about respect. You can check those out because I took them off her channel and put them on mine. What I'm saying is, as a man, the buck stops with me. As a man, the buck stops with me. if I'm really a king, if I'm really a leader, if I'm really the head, if I'm really who I say I am, all the other stuff that's being done that shouldn't be done, all the other stuff that's shady, all the other stuff that's trifling, all the other stuff, I should be able to assert myself in a forceful way that I start to actually challenge, just through my movement, those in my periphery to rise to my level. Instead of pointing the finger and saying, you're this, you're that, you're that. That's how I've always led. Look, instead of me telling you what you're not, I'm going to show you who I am. And then I'm going to do it in a way that doesn't degrade you, that doesn't demean you, that doesn't make you naturally feel that I'm an antagonistic force in your life. That you see something about me that makes you aspire. That you see something about me that makes you want to rise. You see something about me that says, damn, I don't want to let him down. That's how you lead. You can't be a leader pointing fingers. The buck stops with the leader. The buck stops with the king. Now, are there people that are just out there that's not? Yeah, there are going to be some people that are going to have to fall off. There are going to be some people who simply aren't ready to rise. But I don't have to spend my energy tearing them down. I don't have to spend my energy talking about them. It'll be obvious. It'll be obvious who's not ready to rise, male or female. It'll be obvious who isn't prepared to go to the next level. But what I have to do is be on my A game. I can't be whining all the time. Man, look at some of the stuff that I've been through in the past year or so. In the past 3 years, lost 2 of my primary income sources. Right at a point when things were taking off. Had to totally revamp how I do everything. Have 5 freaking heart attacks in the course of a week. And no bill, none of the things I'm responsible for paying cares that I had it. Nobody's going to send me a letter saying, well, we heard you had a heart attack, so your mortgage is not due. We heard you had a heart attack, so your light bills, none of that happened. So guess what Rick was the very next day after coming home from the hospital? Rick was in his office doing work because my family needs me. Not complaining, and no, my wife wasn't sitting on her butt doing nothing. She's doing everything she can. But there's a certain load I carry, and it stays with me. She's doing, and I always is doing. My wife is not the kind of person that can be kept. And I mean that in a good way. That the kind of kept where you just sit up and say, I got it all. Even when you got it all, she's still working. So she never stopped working. She has never sit up and said, okay, I'm just going to sit in. That's not her, but that still doesn't change what I need to be. I'm trying to get you to understand something. All of this stuff going, now COVID's going on top of all this. So, you know, when you are a person that your businesses are selling high ticket items, and then you got companies shutting down and laying off employees, even the people who still have their job are kind of wondering, like, do I really have X amount of thousands of dollars to pay this person? I know I need to do this, but do I have it? And so you really are having to adjust and change your approach on how you're presenting and all this stuff so that it makes sense to people. But you're doing it. You're not just sitting there going, oh Lord, everything's falling apart. That's what leaders do. That's what leaders do. I don't want to live in a world where I gotta be verbally aggressive towards women or I'm a simp. Not that I give a shit what somebody thinks about me personally, but just the idea that that's where we're at right now, that loving a woman means you're a simp. You know, everybody's out to win. You know, it ain't about loving anybody. It's not about being there for somebody. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be that should always be a force and a dynamic of reciprocity in any relationship you're in, where if you're pouring into somebody, there's something coming back to you. That's real relationship. It shouldn't be a situation where someone's sucking the life out of you and has nothing to give in. And you shouldn't even be in the same proximity with people who are right there right now. My thing is, if you're constantly exposed to people who are energy suckers and life suckers and resource suckers, you're in the wrong place, meaning that you haven't really truly grown in yourself and that you don't know who you are, because when you start to discover who you are, you start to elevate. And as you elevate, you don't just elevate in position and in bank account and all. You elevate in the energy you emit, how you think on a regular basis. Your thoughts carry energy, literally, that can be measured. Energy that can be measured on a hertz scale. So what frequency are you on? What hertz level are you at? If you're sitting on a scale where you're just basically at 250 hertz, where everybody else is angry all the time, envious, jealous, full of malice and hatred and so many other things, that's where you're at. If that's where you're at, then no wonder you're running into the wrong people and they got you all wound up and feeling a certain kind of way. You're messing with the wrong people because you're in the wrong place. I'm just saying, it's time for us to really rise up and be something. And it's going to take a whole change in the way we think and the way we move and how we operate. If we're going to be kings, men, we're going to have to rise. Women, being a female doesn't qualify you to be a queen. There are some qualifications for being royalty. And you have to be exhibiting that. And you got to carry yourself in a way that it almost demands that a man in your presence show you a level of respect. But I'll tell you, for most men, it's hard to respect someone who isn't respecting themselves. As for me, I'm just not going to do it. If I can't respect you, I don't want you around me. If it's that bad to where I look at you and I just don't have respect, I don't want you around me. I may be able to pass you on some advice, but you can't be around me. You're pulling me down. You're messing with me. Look, I could talk about this all day long, but it is what it is. Don't forget to sponsor a space in the book, first and foremost. Second of all, share this with video. Hey, it's time we go to another level. On that note, I'm out of here.